Let's go to one of our top stories now. We understand about 35 people have been injured in this morning's multi-vehicle crash on the M41 in Umhlanga. This is north of Durban. A fully laden truck plowed into over 40 vehicles in peak hour traffic. Let's get the latest now from Shawn Herbst, who is with Netcare 911, and he's the national spokesperson there. Thank you so much, Shawn, for your time. How many cars were involved exactly, and how many people were injured?
There were 35 vehicles, 47 vehicles involved in the collision. This was including 2 taxis and the truck that caused the collision. Out of that, 35 people had sustained injuries ranging from minor to serious. One person had sustained critical injuries. That person was airlifted through to hospital by the Netcare 911 emergency helicopter.
Do you know if the driver has been located? I know that, of course, there were talks that he fled the scene.
That's, as far as we know, yes. Reports from some of the motorists had tried to stop him, but he fled into the bush right next to the M4, which leads through to Durban.
Is there anything we know about him?
Nothing at the moment. The truck was unbranded. The police that were on scene also reported that the vehicle had 3 different number plates. But at the moment, no.
And what about the people, who were involved in this? Of course, because there are some injuries, there are some people that are serious, as you say, but of course, people have lost some of their vehicles. I mean, looking at the extent of the damage, it looks like some of them are going to be write-offs.
Absolutely. I think most of them are going to be write-off. If you have seen a lot of the visuals, it's actually a miracle how some people actually escaped that. At some places, there's 3 vehicles on top of each other. How those people survived is an absolute miracle.
Was there any kind of trauma counseling that was offered to people at the scene, especially the onlookers and some of those who were probably impacted?
Trauma counselors from Umhlanga were on scene, but I think because of the size of the scene, the amount of patients, it was just too overwhelming for the counselors that were there.
And Shawn, there's talk of possibly a substance that the truck may have been carrying. Do we know anything about that?
As far as we know, from first look, it looked like asphalt that the truck was carrying at the back of the tipper truck. Samples were taken by the SABC, which pending a test will eventually find out what substance it was carrying.
And you said, of course, that there is someone who is critical from this particular incident. Can you talk to us about the extent of the injuries that others would have then suffered? I know that you say that they're minor injuries, but are you able to paint a picture for us?
Sure, absolutely. When we had arrived on scene with multiple other emergency services, it was absolute chaos. People were screaming, people were crying. There were people hanging out of the vehicles. Stuck underneath some of the vehicles. Fortunately, none of them required heavy equipment or hydraulic equipment to remove them. The critically injured patient was an adult female. She was 4 months pregnant. Her condition had deteriorated rapidly on scene, and the decision was made to airlift her through to a specialist trauma facility.
Do we know if the baby is okay?
There's been no update as of now.
Sure. Shawn, thank you so much for that update. We do appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Welcome,
definitely worrying there. Those scenes that we saw, very horrific from this morning coming out of KwaZulu-Natal. That's Shawn Herbst, Netcare 911's national spokesperson.